Perfect. Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Women's Health Matters podcast. And on this podcast, I'm talking to lots of really interesting people who really help in women's health. And today I'm joined by Janice Tucker, and I've known Janice for a long time. She's a fellow acupuncturist and she does Qigong. So I am going to let Janice explain how she helps people. And she has this amazing website called Space to Relax. So welcome to this podcast, Janice. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much, Lucy. It's great to be here.
Cool. So tell me a little bit about what you do, because I'm always telling ladies in the clinic, in my clinic, or when we're coaching for menopause, to go and do Qigong.
Okay, well, as you said, we've known each other for a long time. You were, I think, 2 years above me in college for Chinese medicine studies.
Yes.
So you have a couple more years experience on me in terms of
we've like over 20 over like 40 years experience between the two of us.
And actually this month, because our graduation month was February, I am 22 years, so you must be 24 years in practice. Yeah. So this is our anniversary month of graduating, which is fabulous, and we're still here.
I know. Still loving doing what I do.
Yeah. So just for those people who don't know me, I do practice Chinese medicine and acupuncture still. I have 2 clinics in Kerry, in Kilorglin and in Tralee. And also I have an online business and face-to-face workshops when I've been able to do them prior to the pandemic, teaching people Qigong, which, for those of you who don't know, is a very simple combination of movements, breathing and mind focus in order to help you to restore the internal balance within your body and restore your health and bring yourself back to the healthiest balance possible, not just physically in terms of aches and pains, but also mentally and emotionally in terms of any emotional upheaval you might be going through as well, or anything that is maybe in your past. It can be very helpful for that too. And so, as I said, I practice and teach. I practice Qigong myself. I teach Qigong. I was in China 4 times after I graduated from my Chinese medicine studies, and was given permission by my professors over in China to teach. So I've been teaching since, I think, about 2004. And I used to teach night classes, I teach workshops, and I'm actually doing my first face-to-face workshop in 2 years this coming Sunday. So I'm so excited. But I've had an online business teaching Qigong through video instruction and through online Zoom classes since 2015, so we'll be 7 years for the online business, actually.
I remember when you started that.
So what I love to do is help not only women, but anybody really who wants to learn Qigong, but really to help you to learn tools in order to calm your mind, relax, really boost your energy levels, help to regulate certain health conditions and manage those conditions as best as possible, and really just give you the tools to empower yourself in order to work for yourself and do these simple exercises for yourself. And they can very easily kind of fit alongside any Chinese medicine or acupuncture treatment you might be having, or any Western medicine care that you might be receiving as well.
So if you're on any medication or anything, it's safe to do at the same time?
Absolutely, yeah. So with Qigong exercises, there are some movements in Qigong which I would always build in a kind of a little warning or a little kind of take care about doing them. So anything where you have to do a forward bend, if you suffer with high blood pressure, for example, or low blood pressure, and you pop up too quickly, you might get dizzy. So I would always warn people about that and say, if you're bending forwards in any way, then just don't go below, don't let your heart drop below waist level. Similarly, for people who have issues with lower back, if they have any lower back issues, forward bends are not always the best thing to do. But when I'm teaching Qigong, I would always say to anybody who's doing it, you can always adapt an exercise to whatever your range of movement is, and just go easy on yourself. Do the movements very slowly. That's the best way to do them anyway. And don't go beyond your limits. Just work until you feel a tiny little bit of a stretch or or something that's, maybe working your body in a different way, but you don't have to go kind of all gung-ho into huge stretches. And with Qigong, what's really interesting in terms of it as a physical exercise is it's very different from many other physical exercises in that you're not forcing it. You're not physically forcing any of the movements. The breath and your mind is actually leading the movement. The movement follows. So it's a very different way of doing any kind of stretches or movement. And in that way, in my opinion, it is much safer and it's much more suited to people with maybe a decreased range of movement. Say you've got, arthritic shoulders, or you've got some problem with your neck, or you can't move, you've got a limited range of movement in your legs or your back. You can always adapt your movements to whatever range of movement is available to you. So I've taught Qigong to wheelchair users, for example. Just before the pandemic, I was teaching Qigong to a group of senior citizens in a daycare center, most of whom were over 75, a lot of whom were in their 80s, and they could sit in the chair and do Qigong exercises. So you don't have to be standing, you don't have to be super flexy, and it kind of has the edge over yoga in that respect, because even though I'm a massive fan of yoga and I do yoga all the time myself, I love it, it's not available to everybody. Not everyone is able to do yoga because of the physical demands that are placed on their body. So with Qigong, there's always something you can do, because the movement is only 1/3 of what makes up Qigong. The breath is the other third, and the mind is the other third. So even if you can't move at all, you can just sit there, you can breathe, you can use your mind, and you can still do the exercises in order to allow for the qi or your energy to flow more freely throughout your body. And that's the aim.
This actually makes me think of a story that I heard about this athlete who was training to go into the Olympics, an American athlete, and she got injured. I think she could have broken her leg or something like quite serious, not long before the actual Olympic Games were on. I think she was a runner. I'm remembering the story, but she used her breath work and her mind to keep her body fit. So she was still, when she got better, because she couldn't do the training to get to the Olympics, that she got there, and actually she won a medal. I'm not even sure if she did actually win a gold medal. It was kind of like in the 60s or something like that. I remember reading about it and I was like, wow, that is actually amazing. So it's something you could maybe she used Qigong method in that way of getting herself right.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a few stories of people I know who have been Qigong students of mine or practitioners that I know, and they've got, they've been seriously ill and been bedridden in hospital, maybe receiving chemotherapy treatment, or, they've got another serious condition, or they've, post-surgery, for example, where you can't necessarily move, but you can still practice Qigong.
With the breath work and your mind.
Yeah, with the breath and with the mind. Yeah, absolutely.
So what kind of breath work would you be talking about? Just literally breathing in and out? I know that sounds a stupid question, but what would you say to someone?
Not stupid at all. Well, most of the breathing practice in Qigong, is certainly at beginner level, is what's called abdominal breathing. So, or diaphragmatic breathing. So abdominal breathing is where you breathe into your belly, into your lower abdomen. And as you breathe in, you feel the belly expand. It's like blowing up a balloon. But that expansion of your belly isn't just, people think it's just forward and you see your belly kind of inflating and deflating. But that expansion, I explain to people, it's like, it's 3D. So it's sideways, it's forwards and backwards, it's up and down as well. So the whole of that abdominal cavity gets bigger, as it were. It swells with what's called a ball of qi. So as you take in the air or the qi, then that abdominal area gets bigger. And it doesn't, obviously, we're not actually breathing into our bellies, we're breathing into our lungs. But what we're doing is we're using the deeper parts of our lungs. And our diaphragm, which is the muscle that runs along the bottom of the lungs, we're actually making much better use of that. So as we breathe in, the diaphragm flattens and pushes down. And as the diaphragm pushes down, that's what moves the belly out. That's what you see happening. The best way to practice that is actually lying down and just place your hand on your lower belly, below your belly button. And as you breathe in, you'll feel your hand rising up towards the ceiling. So you'll get this rise and fall. And for those of you out there who've got young children, it's a brilliant exercise to teach to kids. And what I ask people to do, what parents can do, is actually, rather than get the child to put their hand on their lower belly, actually put a favorite toy like a teddy bear or something on the belly, and they can watch and see the teddy bear going up and down as they're breathing. So it's a really nice little practice to teach to children, especially if they're a little bit anxious or a little bit worried. Maybe going into school, if they're worried about homework or bullying or something like that, and there is a child who's suffering with anxiety, the abdominal breathing is brilliant for that. And in Qigong, usually as well, unless we're making use of special exercises which use sounds, usually you breathe in and out through the nose. So a lot of people with exercise, they're used to breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. But if you breathe in and out through the nose, that breath out through the nose actually helps to calm the mind a lot more. So that lovely gentle in and out through the nose, just feeling the belly rising as you breathe in and then sinking as you breathe out. Even just to do that for a few breaths is really calming. It's a very good way to kind of center and kind of anchor yourself if you feel like your mind's a little bit scattered and all over the place. It's just to bring you back down to earth.
That's really, because sometimes when you're breathing, my partner, he does a lot of breathing techniques and stuff, and he's taught me to do it better, but I'd breathe in, but I breathe in my belly. That's how I used to, breathe in your tummy and then out as you do your out breath. But it's the other way around, isn't it? You expand out.
It's the other way around, absolutely. Yeah,
because it feels like the right way.
What you're doing is you're drawing in energy, or qi, what we call qi. You're bringing that qi in from the outside world, the lovely, we're very lucky in Ireland to have really clean, fresh air. In most situations, we're not living in the middle of kind of grimy cities that are laden with smog. So we're bringing in lovely, clean, fresh air from outside. And that's coming down into that lower abdomen area, which in Chinese medicine and Qigong we call Dantian. And Dantian is like your engine room. It's like your powerhouse from where all of your energy can then be distributed. So I always think of it as like a front-loading washing machine. So you've got the washing spinning around inside, and that's a little bit like the qi or the energy moving around. And from there, it kind of flies off in all directions around your body. And in that way, it helps to kind of really energize, nourish the body, and just improve your circulation and allow all of your organ systems to cooperate in a really beneficial way. So everything's working together and combining and harmonizing in order to restore your internal health.
So you work on the breath. So what would you do with the mind? What type of techniques would you use on the mind?
Okay, so with the mind, what happens is that usually with Qigong, where your mind goes, the qi follows. So if you put your mind into a certain area of the body, then the qi will follow that, and go into that area. When the qi follows, the blood then follows as well. So what you're doing is when you pay attention to a part of your body and put your mind there, and the qi will just go there automatically, the blood will go there as well. So often when I'm teaching movements in workshops, we'll do the movement and then I ask the students to pay attention after the movement. I'll say, now maybe just let your hands drop down by your sides and think about your hands and your fingers and think about, observe what's going on there. And often they find that they've got lovely kind of tingling sensations, a bit of warmth, maybe their fingers and their hands feel much bigger, like their fingers are swollen up, almost like the size of sausages. They might feel really heavy. And all of those signs are signs that the qi is actually going into their hands as a result of the simple movements, the focus of the mind and the breath that's allowed the qi to flow more freely.
So you could do the same with your organs, with the heart or the liver or the stomach.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say it as well, like you can use that technique as well. Say if you suffer from pain in a particular joint, so say you've got pain in the shoulder joint, what I'd say is there's a lovely meditation, actually it's on my website, it's at the bottom of my website homepage, and it's a free meditation. It's called Calm Your Busy Mind in 8 minutes. But what you can also do with that exercise, as well as it helping to calm your mind, what you can do is use it because we work from head to toe. So you can use it and stop at any particular part of your body which might be causing you discomfort or pain. So say it's your shoulder, and what I ask you to do is to think about the shoulder, and then as you breathe out, think of relaxing and expanding that whole shoulder area. So you're imagining that your shoulder is getting bigger in all directions. And as something gets bigger like that, not only is it getting bigger on the outside, but also the blood vessels supplying it are widening and opening up. And by doing that and allowing more blood, more chi or energy to flow into that area, that can help to relieve pain or discomfort in that area. And you do that totally with the mind and the breath. There is no movement. So what you were saying earlier there, Lucy, and asking me about, well, you know, if you can't move, can you still practice Qigong? Absolutely you can, because you can do that lying in a bed. And that's the perfect exercise actually for going into bed at night to help you to sleep more easily.
Yeah, because quite a lot of I don't know if you see this, but quite a lot, I obviously deal with a lot of women who are perimenopause and menopause, and sleep is can be a massive problem for women, and it can just hit them overnight. Suddenly you could be the best sleeper in the world and boom, yeah, you stop sleeping, and it's really tough. So that's an exercise that women can do.
Absolutely. It's a really great exercise to do either if you can't get off to sleep at night, if your mind's too busy, there's a lot of mind chatter going on, you can use that exercise just to work from head to toe with the breathing. And if you have something else like that to focus on, then it's, in a way, it kind of just stops you being distracted so much from the mind chatter. Just bringing yourself back to your mind and your breath as you work through this exercise can be really helpful. But equally, if you wake up in the middle of the night, especially if you're menopausal and you're roasting hot, and then you find that you're having trouble getting back to sleep, once you've managed to cool down a little bit, then again, you can go back to this kind of exercise to help in order to calm your mind again quickly and get back into a sleep. Because the one thing we don't want, as kind of, if you're a menopausal, well, if you're any woman at all, if you wake up in the morning and you don't feel refreshed, then you are not starting your day in the best way. So what you need to do is make sure that you are getting the best quality of sleep possible. So even if the sleep is maybe a little bit broken in the middle of the night, if you can get good quality sleep, even for 2 or 3 hours at a time, so that when you wake up the next morning, you feel some bit of refreshment and some bit of energy, then you're starting off on the best possible foot for the whole day.
Yeah. Well, if you wake up in the morning and you're feeling exhausted, is there anything that you can do that will, create a bit of energy within your body without making you exhausted?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you wake up first thing in the morning, Qigong is ideally practiced with stretching. So like to actually do some stretching movements. So that's quite different from when you're going to bed at night. So when you're going to bed at night, you don't really want to be energizing your body and making yourself like really awake and alive, because then it'll be more difficult to get off to sleep. But first thing in the morning, what you want to do is you want to stretch the body. So if you think about, say, if any of you have got pets at home, if you think about cats and dogs, when they get out of their bed after they've been sleeping, what's the first thing they do? Is they do a big stretch, don't they? So they usually do a stretch and a bit of a yawn. So anything that involves this kind of stretching, opening up the arms, stretching a little bit into the legs. And there are loads of Qigong exercises that I've got that are on my website, they're on my YouTube channel. There's loads of lovely kind of first thing in the morning ones. And there's a couple there actually, which are Qigong morning routines. So you can find those quite easily just by going onto my blog page, onto the Space to Relax website, go to the blog page, and then there's a little search box at the top. If you just type in morning routine, you'll find it there.
Great. So yeah, that's true actually. In the morning time when I see the dogs, they'd be doing a really lovely stretch.
Yeah. And the reason they do that is because animals know that if they were to get up and then just go straight into action, they'd be more likely to become injured. So what they're doing is they're stretching their muscles, they're limbering up their muscles to make sure everything's working in a nice kind of gentle way first, before they go out doing their hunting or their playing or whatever they're doing. Yeah.
Why do you think that we've lost that as humans? Why have we lost that ability?
We've lost a few things in terms of, Qigong practice and just that awareness of our own bodies. And I think it's really just distraction by modern day living. We're just distracted all the time. I mean, even the abdominal breathing that I was explaining to you about there, that is something that all of us were born doing. Babies breathe like that. animals breathe like that. You watch a baby sleeping, or one of your pets at home sleeping, and you'll see their belly goes up and down. As they breathe in, their belly rises. As they breathe out, their belly falls. And kids actually lose that ability usually by about the age of 7. And I think it's because just as they get busier, as they have more stuff to do in their busy little lives, their breath becomes more and more shallow. Also, if people are anxious, if children are anxious, their breath becomes more shallow. And you think about it yourself, if it, for any of you out there, if you're ever feeling a little bit anxious, it can be a little bit difficult to catch your breath. If any of you out there are asthmatic, if you have problems with asthma, you know that if you get a little bit wheezy, you get more anxious, your breath becomes more shallow, and it becomes a vicious circle because it's harder and harder to catch your breath. So for anyone who has any breathing difficulties, the abdominal breathing is really important to learn or relearn from what you knew as a baby, because if you have that, then you can very quickly kind of calm your mind and calm your breath and actually get a more efficient breath going on, so you don't enter that state of wheeziness.
So I want to hear more about your trips to China 4 times. That must have been amazing.
Yeah, well, I had just, I went the first time in 2000, so I just graduated from Chinese Medicine College in Dublin, and there were 12 of us went out together. There were a few kind of new students or newly qualified practitioners, as I was. There were 3 or 4 experienced practitioners, and then there were a couple of the lecturers as well, and the director of our college. So we all went out together, and we went to the University of Traditional Chinese Medicine in Guangzhou, which is just north of Hong Kong. And in that university, there were 10,000 students, every single one of them studying Chinese medicine.
Really,
so
10,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
And there was a hospital, a teaching hospital next door, which was affiliated with the Chinese Medicine College, and they were practicing a mixture of both Chinese medicine and Western medicine, so they were getting the best of both worlds. But within the university, there was a Qigong department. So we were very fortunate to be taught Qigong by 2 Qigong professors who at that time had, they'd been practicing all their lives really, but they definitely had 25 years experience. And it was medical Qigong we learned. So they were only teaching Chinese medicine practitioners really. So it was very much done from a medical point of view, because there are different branches of Qigong as well. So there's medical Qigong, which is what I studied. And then there's more kind of meditative Qigong. There's more kind of Buddhist Qigong as well. And then there's Qigong, which is used for martial arts. So if any of you have seen the Shaolin monks doing their thing, all the kind of breaking of the concrete blocks with their hands, they do, if you watch a video of them doing that, they spend a bit of time beforehand preparing. And what they're doing is they're preparing and they're using their mind and their breath to bring qi to the part of their hand to make it resistant to the concrete block, to make it really strong, so that when they chop through the concrete block, they don't break their hand. So there are different branches of Qigong. So obviously for me as a Chinese medicine practitioner, I'm interested in medicine. I'm interested in people being healthy. And so I don't use it for fighting, although I did study Kung Fu for a while as well. But I wouldn't use it for that. I'm really interested in really giving people the tools that they can use for themselves. So I'm helping to teach people Qigong, but I want you all to be able to go away and use it for yourselves.
So what would be one of the most common things that you see in you treat Qigong with?
In terms of helping people with Qigong, it would have to be mind chatter and anxiety. Mind chatter, anxiety, worry, because if our mind is not calm, then it can affect us in many different ways. So there's this knock-on effect. So if our mind is not calm, we become disorganized, we become stressed because we're disorganized. We then lose our energy levels because we're so busy running around being busy fools and not actually getting anything done. And all the time our energy levels are depleted. If our mind is not calm, we definitely can't sleep. Everybody needs a calm mind for sleeping. And so if your mind is too busy, then you end up exhausting many other functions of your body. And, people would just come to me and say, look, this is the main problem is I just can't, my mind is just not calm. I'm either stressed, I'm worried, I'm anxious, my mind is too busy. And then if you have all of that inner turmoil going on, then if that's left unchecked, that can often lead to things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, other issues. In terms of menopause, it can lead to definitely more heat, more hot flushes, more night sweats, more menopausal symptoms. So the ladies who come to me for acupuncture and Chinese medicine for menopausal symptoms, I say to all of them, I said, like, the number one thing you need to do about this is to rest, because you will find that if you're exhausted or you're stressed, then all of your symptoms are worse. And they always say that's true. So if you're under pressure and you're stressed, your night sweats, your hot flushes, your anxiety, you're not being able to sleep, all of that gets worse if you're able to rest. And that doesn't mean being a couch potato, by the way. That means just going out for, doing some gentle exercise, getting plenty of fresh air, but not putting yourself under undue pressure and trying to do too many things in one day.
Can you hear all the ladies going, oh, but I have to do so many things, the guilt of not getting all the jobs done, can't sit down.
But this is the price we pay for being so busy trying to organize and mind everybody else. And I think all women will agree that it's a very common, I don't like to say fault, because it's a really lovely thing that women spend time looking after everybody else, but sometimes we do it to our detriment. And we overdo it. So I think it's important to realize that if you take care of yourself first, then you're much better able to look after everybody else in your life. And if you don't, then you could get sick, and then you're no good to anybody, yourself or anybody else, because you won't be able to do all the things that you love to do to mind everyone.
That is so true. That is, I'm always saying that I use the analogy of putting your oxygen mask on first, because you need to mind you first. And if you try and mind everyone else first, like the kids beside you, they can take off their mask and go, and then both of you are passed out. So it's
And a lot of people would say to me as well that when they're doing all those things for people, if they were to stop, they say they feel guilty that they're not helping everybody. They have this guilt around it. But one thing I found really useful, and I heard this, it was actually on a business coaching call that I was on for my business, because entrepreneurs in business also get too busy and push themselves and drive themselves too much. So if for any of you out there who have your own business, you probably understand that as well, that whether you're online in business or whether you're doing face-to-face business, if the buck stops with you and it's your own business, there is a never-ending list of things to do. And so we can always be tempted to push ourselves a little bit too much. But one of the people on this business call said that what's very important to not feel guilty about this, which can be really helpful, is to understand that building in rest time is part of the work. It is one of the tasks you need to do in order to take care of yourself, is to build in the rest time. So that is something that goes on the list along with everything else to do. So the rest is part of the work you need to do to keep yourself operating at your optimum.
Funny you should say that. I had a client with me and he called them wellness breaks during the day. That's what he called them. So he said, because we talked about breaks, and he came up with, I'm going to call them wellness breaks during the day. And that's what it was. It was just like a 10-minute wellness break where you went outside and got fresh air, or went and, sat down, had a cup of tea, but just went away from his work. Because we do just tend to, sit there at the computer if you're working in a business, or, it is hard, or making appointments back to back, so you don't give yourself time just to breathe. It's so true, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things about Qigong, is that you can do it anywhere. So if you're in a business and if you're, doing stuff with the kids, or you're busy, if you're just busy in your day, if you have a 10-minute gap, wherever you are, you can always do Qigong, because you can just stand there, sit there, lie down, and you can breathe. You can do abdominal breathing. If you're lucky enough to be outside, if you're on the beach or you're out walking, you can do a few Qigong stretches as well. So you can always fit Qigong into your day. And I very much emphasize that with my students. say for example, you're, standing in a queue in the supermarket or the post office, you just stand there, you go into what's called the Qigong stance, which is a really nice way of aligning your posture. And so that allows the Qi to flow more freely, which energizes your body. You're not moving, you're just standing. The standing doesn't look any bit weird. So if you're in a crowd of people, you're just a person standing there, and you just do your abdominal breathing while you're waiting in a queue. And if you're standing in a queue for 5 minutes, there you go. You've done 5 minutes of Qigong, which has really helped to rest and at the same time energize your body.
Way better than picking up your phone and scrolling through some TikTok or Instagram or something like that. Yeah. So it's much better for you.
Yeah.
Well, you've been an amazing guest, and so much really great information and the benefits of Qigong and breathing and helping to calm and settle down the mind. It's been amazing. So if anyone wants to get hold of you or, join you on any of your Qigong classes, how can they do that?
Okay, so the easiest thing is for you to go to spacetorelax.com. So that's my website. And on that website, you'll see on the first page, you can sign up at the top. You can sign up for a free video series, which is delivered to you by email. If you scroll to the bottom, you can sign up for the audio meditation, the Calm Your Busy Mind in 8 minutes, which is the one I was mentioning earlier with the abdominal breathing and the relaxing of the shoulder and everything. And if you want to join my free online classes, they're live on Zoom at the first Thursday of every month. So this coming Thursday, that's the 3rd of March, I think. This coming Thursday, we're live at 4 p.m. Classes are around 30 minutes. So if you go just to the top of the Space to Relax page and look at the Work With Me menu, just click on that, and it's the first one on the list. It says Online Qigong Classes. So you just sign up there, and I send you the Zoom link through the day before. And we've got people from all over the world who join us on those classes, and they're great fun. And I've been doing those since the start of the pandemic, actually. It'll be nearly 2 years. So, and they're free for anyone to join. That's so good. Once a month is excellent. And then you can practice in between, or go to your YouTube channel and keep up to date with everything that's going on with, what you can't remember, because sometimes it's hard to remember all the moves to start with. Yeah. And it's easy to find me on YouTube as well. You just type in my name, Janice Tucker, and Janice Tucker Qigong would probably find me, no problem. Cool. You've been amazing. Thank you so much. And I always forget to say this at the beginning. Please subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be having some more amazing guests on to help you in all aspects of your health and wellness. Okay, thanks very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much, Lucy. I'm going to end this now.